Part 13. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 121. Silence, deathly silence, on the streets that were originally crowded with people. Thousands of pedestrians and vehicle occupants who had not yet had time to evacuate were all looking in the same direction with stupid expressions. There was a tanker parked quietly there, and the flames still burning at the rear of the tanker seemed to tell everyone about the danger just now. Next to the oil tanker, the two blown fire hydrants were still spraying thick columns of water into the sky. After the water column fell, it turned into two water curtains. At this moment, a little Taoist priest wearing a Taoist robe and carrying a sword was standing motionless in the water curtain, letting the water pour on him. And this sparse voice became the only sound at the scene. I don't know how much time passed before Qin Feng, the on-site emergency commander, finally reacted and quickly said to several police officers on the side, "Don't be stunned, hurry over and check the situation of the oil tanker. Check out hidden dangers, and we must not let anything happen again at this time." As soon as he finished speaking, all the police officers present immediately started to move. And their movement seemed to break the seals of others present, and everyone came back to their senses in an instant. At the same time, Yang Lin on the other side finally took a deep breath after being drenched by the water. It's so dangerous, it's so dangerous. In this world without spiritual energy at all, after all, I still can't exert my full strength. If it was in the previous life, even if it was the same real person state, I could easily stop such a tanker truck with just one innate and powerful grapple. How could it be in such a mess like now? But I saved so many lives this time, I'm afraid I can gain a lot of karma. As soon as he finished speaking, invisible karma rushed straight into his body. The number was so huge that it far exceeded anything before, and he couldn't help but feel a hint of joy on his face. And at this moment, several figures ran towards him. Upon seeing this, he quickly walked out of the water curtain. With a little exertion of magic, all the remaining water on his body turned into white mist like water vapor. So when he walked out of the water curtain, his whole body was surrounded by a layer of white mist, like a fairy. Boss Yang and the others who were walking towards him were stunned on the spot. I'll go, he's become an immortal. What kind of magical power did Yang Lin use again? I'll see how he can explain this time. Just when Boss Yang and others were shocked, Yang Lin's voice also appeared in their ears. What kind of gods or magical powers? This is just ordinary water vapor. Didn't you learn physics in junior high school? After hearing Yang Lin's words, Boss Yang immediately retorted. Are you kidding? You just raised that oil tanker into the sky. Isn't this impossible in physics? Of course, don't you know the principle of leverage? As long as the moment arm is long enough, the blue star can be tilted, let alone a tanker truck. Then you also used the lever principle when you caught the oil tanker later. Reba said while finishing her attack. But this time Yang Lin did not answer immediately. Instead, he thought for a while before replying. That's not true. I used the Tai Chi method of moving 1,000 pounds. I first caught the tanker, then neutralized the force of the tanker, and finally released the force through the water flow. This is the famous theory in the traditional martial arts of the Dragon Kingdom, Ji Hua Fa. I once learned some from watching a live broadcast of a martial arts master when I was practicing Taoism on the mountain. When Yang Lin said these words, he didn't feel guilty at all. Because that's actually what he did. When he was on the mountain, he had browsed most of the traditional martial arts in the Dragon Kingdom. I have also benefited a lot from Tai Chi. Just now in desperation, he used Tai Chi to activate his magic power and successfully removed all the gravity of the tanker. But obviously Boss Yang and others did not believe his statement at all. Not only did they not believe it, but the people around them who had narrowly escaped death were also talking about it. Are we alive again? If nothing else, it seems so. I thought I was dead just now, but I didn't expect that I could survive such a situation. How did Yang Lin do it? Needless to say, he must have used magic. It is very reasonable for a Taoist priest to know a little magic. No, why would such an awesome Taoist priest choose to join the entertainment industry? I've heard before that his strength is off the charts, but today I saw that it's more than just off the charts. He's really angry now. It's amazing. He's beyond the scope of human beings. I want to know which mountain he practices on. I want to go too. Is there a possibility that this world is not as simple as we imagine, and there are many people like Yang Lin out there? Why do you care so much? I only know that Yang Lin saved my life. From now on, I will be his die-hard fan. Yes, I am also his crazy fan now. If anyone dares to criticize him, well, no one should dare to criticize him now. Just as this passerby said, after what just happened, everyone present had a changed view of Yang Lin. Previously, most people only knew about a person like Yang Lin through some recent news. But they had no way of knowing exactly what he was like. At this moment, in addition to being their savior, Yang Lin was also the idol they most admired in their hearts. It even went beyond ordinary casual fans to become die-hard fans. Just as these people were looking at Yang Lin with admiration, Qin Feng, who had finished handling the accident scene on the other side, finally came to Yang Lin. As soon as he got close, he saluted Yang Lin solemnly. When other police officers present saw this, they immediately took the same action. Judging from the expressions on their faces and eyes, this gift came from their hearts. Dao Zhongyang, on behalf of the thousands of people at the scene and the 78 police officers of our entire detachment, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to you. If it weren't for you, our entire Jinghai would have suffered irreparable losses today. As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, Yang Lin responded calmly. Director Qin's words are serious. Our Taoist sect is originally responsible for helping the world and saving people. Now that we know that such a vicious accident will happen, Pandeo has no reason to sit idly by and do nothing. That's what I said, but today, Taoist priest, you saved so many lives today. I will definitely report this matter to the superior department. Now I have to continue to investigate the cause of the accident, so I can only express my gratitude to you verbally. While talking, Qin Feng was about to take people away first. But at this moment, Yang Lin spoke again. Director Qin, I think you don't need to investigate. Pandeo already knows the cause of the accident. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Yang Lin again. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 122. On the street, Qin Feng and others looked at Yang Lin with puzzled faces. Even though the investigation into the accident had not started yet, he said that he already knew the cause of the accident. How could this prevent them from being confused? But when he thought that Yang Lin could predict in advance that everyone present would have an accident, it didn't seem surprising to know the cause of the accident. After a moment of silence, Yang Lin looked inexplicably towards the gas station ahead. Seeing Yang Lin suddenly looking towards the gas station, everyone's first reaction was that there was something wrong with the gas station. But then I thought about it, and it seemed wrong, because the cause of the incident was obviously that the oil tanker lost control. Gas stations are nothing more than victims. Just when everyone was extremely confused, Yang Lin finally spoke. The cause of this accident was nothing but the roads here. The way. What could be wrong with the road? Could it be that there were nails on the road that punctured the tires of the tanker truck? Yeah, this road looks pretty normal. Taoist master, I really don't understand this. Can you explain it more clearly? After guessing for a long time, Qin Feng asked with sincerity on his face. However, this time Yang Lin did not say it directly. Instead, he picked up a pebble from the ground and started drawing it on the spot. Soon a pattern was formed in his hands. I saw that the pattern seemed to draw an arc-shaped road. At the beginning, no one understood the mystery of this arcuate road, until Boss Yang glanced at the gas station next to it. Suddenly a hint of realization appeared on her face. I understand, what Yang Lin drew is the service road in front of the gas station. Hearing Boss Yang's words, Yang Lin nodded immediately. Yes, it's just a matter of that road. The original main road was straight, but for the convenience of entering and exiting the gas station, there was an additional arcuate auxiliary road. And such a shape has another name in Feng Shui, called the reverse bow evil. Reverse bow evil. Upon hearing this term, everyone who was already confused suddenly became even more confused. Fortunately, Yang Lin explained patiently at this time. The gas station happens to be located at the top of this arch, where the evil spirits are most concentrated. And the 5 elements of the gas station belong to fire. Condensing so much evil spirit can easily lead to trouble. So if you want to buy a house or invest, try not to choose this location. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, Qin Feng on the side seemed to remember something. When the Taoist master said this, I also remembered something. There was a serious injury incident here yesterday. At that time, a gas attendant here was dragged for more than 10 meters because of a conflict with a customer. He has not come out of the ICU yet. Qin Feng's words undoubtedly confirmed Yang Lin's statement. Others were secretly stunned when they heard this. Is it really that scary? I would rather believe that it exists than believe that it doesn't exist. If you can, avoid it. Actually, I think there is some scientific reason for this. There is a family in our hometown who lives at the corner of the road. Cars rush into their house every 3 days. There is still a big truck stuck in their house. So is this accident really caused by just such a small section of the service road? While everyone was talking about it, Yang Lin shook his head. It can't be that simple. If it was just a backlash, there would be no such serious accident. At most, it will lead to a loss of money, but it will not lead to death. There were other factors that really led to this accident. After saying that, Yang Lin started drawing on the ground again. When everyone saw this, they quickly gathered their gazes. Different from the last time, this time they finally saw clearly what Yang Lin drew. That was clearly a crossroads. Thinking of the backlash just now, everyone immediately started searching around. It didn't take long for them to find the intersection drawn by Yang Lin. Because there was an intersection not far in front of them, and the out-of-control tanker truck just rushed over from the other side of the intersection. Director Yang, is there anything special about this intersection? Yes, there are intersections everywhere in the city. Why did something happen here alone? Do not understand. Seeing the suspicious glances from the people around him again, Yang Lin immediately motioned for everyone to look forward. The intersection here is different from ordinary intersections. Don't you feel any difference between that side and this side? As soon as this question came up, everyone immediately looked more carefully. But this time it was Reba next to Yang Lin who was the first to see the problem. I know, this road seems to be a flat road, but it is actually a slope. The other side seems to be slightly higher than this side. As soon as Reba said this, everyone immediately discovered this. But judging from their confused expressions, it was obvious that they still didn't understand. Until Yang Lin's voice came from the side. Qi, like water, flows from high places to low places. The high places are yang and the low places are yin. And from the gas station to where we are is the underworld. Look at the sideways road, whether it is higher on the right and lower on the left. Looking in the direction of Yang Lin's finger, everyone found what he said. The horizontal road ahead was exactly what he said, with the right side being higher and the left side being lower, and it was also a slope. I understand. Does that mean that this location of the gas station happens to be at the position where the air flows on both sides, and it is also the place where Yin and Yang meet. Boss Yang seemed to have noticed something, and his eyes lit up. After hearing her words, Yang Lin immediately nodded appreciatively. The location of the gas station is exactly where Yin and Yang are mutually exclusive. Yin and Yang attract each other, hide the wind and gather qi, and Yin and Yang repel each other, which is the place of death. It only takes 2 barrels of oil to do business in such a dead place. If other businesses are to lose everything, even if they don't lose money, there will be a bloody disaster. As Yang Lin explained everything clearly, everyone present could not help but take a breath. The reason why relationships are in such trouble today is because the gas station has stacks of debuffs here. It's a reverse bow, and it's a dead end. It would be strange if something didn't happen. I finally figured it out. Whether you're building a house or doing business, you can't choose a location casually. If you don't choose one right, you'll lose a small amount of money and a big loss of life. Yes, the things left by our ancestors indeed contain great wisdom. There is a certain reason why Feng Shui metaphysics is so popular abroad. Maid, I was almost killed by Longguo Petrochemical today. I won't cheer for them at their house anymore. Yes, I won't refuel at their house anymore. The problem has been found, let's see how to solve it. Just when everyone thought that the matter was over here, Yang Lin pinched his fingers again and started calculating. The next second he frowned suddenly. When everyone around him saw his expression, they couldn't help but feel a little thump in their hearts. There won't be anything else going on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 123. By this time, everyone was basically convinced of Yang Lin. So much so that when everyone saw him frowning, their first reaction was that something big was about to happen. After all, with Yang Lin's ability, it is definitely not a trivial matter that can make him frown. At this moment, Yang Lin suddenly asked Qin Feng beside him. Director Qin, what is ahead of this road? Upon hearing Yang Lin's question, Qin Feng thought about it for a moment, and then answered with a hint of confusion. It's the Linhai elevated highway. You can get on the elevated highway by walking about 800 meters ahead. The tank truck just now probably came down from the elevated level, otherwise it shouldn't be in this position at this point. After saying that, he seemed to realize something and quickly asked another question. Taoist priest, is there something wrong? There is indeed a problem, but Pandeo is not sure yet at the moment. We have to go to the field to take a look. As he spoke, Yang Lin walked towards the front of the road on foot under the gaze of everyone. When other people present saw this, they naturally followed him quickly. Soon there were hundreds of people behind Yang Lin. Since the road was closed at the moment, it didn't take long for everyone to arrive at the elevated spot Qin Feng had just mentioned. Sure enough, there were traces of oil leakage from the tanker truck on the down ramp. This also proves that the tanker truck just came down from the elevated road. Perhaps it was because he saw the fire behind the car that he thought of getting off the elevated highway to take refuge. However, the driver did not expect that the vehicle suddenly lost control after getting off the elevated highway. But when Qin Feng led a group of police officers to inspect the elevated ramp, they found no clues. Director, there are no problems on the road. I think the problem should be in the vehicle itself. It may be brake failure caused by overheating of the brake pads. But as soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, Yang Lin shook his head. Then he pointed to some marks on both sides of the ramp and said, "Look here, a black car should have hit it not long ago. If you look over here, there should have been a car that spontaneously ignited here. And here, there are still some blood stains scattered on the ground that have not been completely cleaned up. There should have been a serious car accident. Here. Here." As Yang Lin pointed out each location, Qin Feng's expression changed instantly. In order to confirm whether what Yang Lin said was true, he immediately called the traffic police team. After a phone call, his eyes were suddenly filled with disbelief. Taoist master, you are truly amazing. A total of 18 major and minor traffic accidents occurred here in the past Monday. The total number of accidents in the past month has been as high as 89, and 7 drivers have been killed so far. In addition to traffic accidents, this is where the highest number of traffic tickets are generated in the city. As soon as Qin Feng said these words, everyone present was instantly in an uproar. Holy crap, I have to walk this road every day to and from get off work. When he said that, it seemed like it was true. There is no doubt that I hit the butt of a luxury car here last week, and my work was all in vain for a month. Yes, that's right. I remember it. I exceeded the speed limit once here last month, but I clearly didn't step on the accelerator at that time. The speed of the car became inexplicably faster. Yesterday, there was a delivery boy who received a box lunch here. I heard that a car that just got off the elevated road accidentally hit him. Oh my God, why are you guys getting more and more weird with your talk? Is it really that scary here? What does this mean? Let me tell you something cruel. When the elevated highway was being built here 4 years ago, there was not a single pillar that could be erected. I heard that the master Baoxiang of the Bama Zen temple came with a group of disciples but couldn't solve it. Later, I don't know why it was established. Isn't this an evil place? It's hard to say. Maybe something happened, so that tanker truck failed, and then it happened to encounter that unlucky gas station. Why do I feel like the god of death is coming? As all the Jinghai locals present told the news they knew, the atmosphere at the scene instantly became weird. It was obviously a scorching sun, but everyone felt goosebumps rising. Unconsciously, everyone looked at Yang Lin. What puzzled them was that after surveying the scene, Yang Lin walked straight towards a thick pillar under the bridge. I saw him touching it first, then knocking it, and finally there was a hint of complexity in his eyes. Seeing his appearance, Qin Feng hurried over. Daozang Yang, is there something wrong with the feng shui here? As soon as his question came out, everyone's eyes focused on Yang Lin again. What surprised them was that this time Yang Lin just shook his head. The feng shui here is not great, but there are no problems. No problem? Then why are so many accidents happening here? Yes, once or twice is a coincidence. If it happens so many times, there must be something wrong. Do you understand or Yang Lin understands? If he said there is no problem with feng shui, then there must be no problem with feng shui. Anyway, there must be something wrong. In the doubtful eyes of everyone, Yang Lin suddenly pointed to the pillar on the side and said, all the problems lie with this pillar. If Pandeo guessed correctly, this pillar should have had raw piles driven into it when it was built. As a certain word appeared, the eyes of everyone present showed horror. Only Lu Tianxian and Reba still had confusion in their eyes. Reba immediately asked Boss Yang in a low voice. Sister Me, what is a raw pile? Upon hearing her question, Boss Yang, who was originally frowning, immediately explained. Live piling means that when certain projects encounter problems that cannot be solved, a living person will be poured into the pillar. As soon as Boss Yang finished speaking, Reba covered her mouth with her hands in horror. Pour a living man into a pillar. This is too cruel. For a moment, the scene fell into silence again. After Qin Feng calmed down for a moment, his expression became more solemn than ever. Daozang Yang, are you sure there is a person buried here? Of course, otherwise the evil spirit here cannot be so strong. There are evil spirits from heaven and earth, and naturally there are evil spirits from people. Yang Lin nodded. People's evil spirits can also affect the pattern and feng shui of a place, let alone people who die with resentment. It is precisely for this reason that accidents occur frequently here. After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, Qin Feng immediately took a deep breath, turned around and said to a police officer on the side, "Get the tools and break this pillar open." "Bureau Qin, what if there are no bones in here?" the police officer replied with a troubled look on his face. "It's all on me." Seeing Qin Feng's persistence, the police officer quickly borrowed demolition tools from the fire department. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the pillar. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 124. There are actually rumors related to pile driving circulating on the internet, but most of them are just rumors. Usually it just stops at topics like "I have a friend," "I have a relative," etc. So after Yang Lin said that this pillar was suspected of being driven by raw piles, the curiosity of everyone present was aroused. At this time, several police officers picked up professional tools and began to demolish the pillars. With bursts of noise, the outside of the column was soon peeled off in a large circle, revealing the internal reinforced concrete structure. Also appearing at the same time was a black object. When this black object appeared, everyone's expressions were instantly stunned. "What is that? It feels like it's made of leather, like a wallet." "Wallet? How come there is a wallet inside this pillar? Is it possible that a person is really buried alive inside? Did Yang Lin really say it right? Maybe it fell in accidentally when mixing the concrete. Hard to say." "Director, a wallet was found." In front of the pillar, as a police officer peeled off the wallet and sent it to Qin Feng, Qin Feng's face suddenly became gloomy. Such a result is undoubtedly the last thing he wants to see. Because he knew that if a stake was really driven into this pillar, many people would be involved. But if he didn't find out the truth, he would feel ashamed of the clothes he was wearing. In such a tangled mood, he slowly opened his wallet. "I thought I could find some clues in the wallet." But the fact is that he thought too much. There was nothing in the wallet, neither cash nor any documents or photos that could prove his identity. Taking a deep breath, he immediately said in a deep voice, "Keep digging." Upon hearing his order, the police officer once again showed a look of embarrassment on his face. "Director, if you continue to dig, it may affect the structural strength of the columns, and thus the entire elevated structure." "Don't worry about this," Qin Feng said in a strong tone. Under his mandatory order, the demolition work of the pillars was started again. When the second round of demolition had been going on for almost a minute, a police officer holding a cutting machine suddenly froze. While stopping his movements, his eyes were still fixed on a small area in front of him. Seemingly unsure, he picked it up again. The next second, a small section of pale finger bone appeared in front of him. After swallowing a sip of saliva, he immediately turned around with a serious look on his face and said, "Director, we found a small piece of something that looks like human tissue. It should be bones." As soon as these words came out, the scene was once again in an uproar. It was really dug out. "This is too scary. I was buried alive in the concrete. How desperate I was when I died. I heard that cement can burn people's skin. He must have been in pain at the time. It hurts. My whole body was buried inside. I couldn't breathe. I lost consciousness completely within a few seconds. I don't dare to think about who came up with this method. If it weren't for Yang Lin, he would have been buried in this pillar for the rest of his life. How can such a death not be so evil? No wonder there is no problem with feng shui here, but accidents happen one after another. A big living person just disappeared, why didn't anyone report it?" While the onlookers were talking a lot, Yang Lin walked straight to the pillar. When he looked at the exposed finger bones, his eyes changed slightly. Looking at the bones, the deceased should be an adult man in his 30s, and he should have left an heir when he died. The remaining information will have to wait until he is completely dug out before we can judge. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Feng couldn't help but show a hint of admiration in his eyes. The Taoist master is worthy of being a Taoist master. He can get so much information just by observing a finger bone. This saves the forensic doctors in our team a lot of work. After praising Yang Lin, he was ready to continue digging. But just when the police officers were about to take action again, Yang Lin suddenly stopped them. "Don't move yet. Leave the savings to Pandeo. You are digging too slowly. You're here to dig." Qin Feng was stunned when he suddenly heard Yang Lin's request. However, out of trust in Yang Lin, he finally said to the police officer on the side, "Give the Taoist priest the tool in your hand." "No, I don't need tools." "Don't need tools." Before everyone could react to what Yang Lin meant by the sentence, Yang Lin suddenly placed his palm on the broken surface of the pillar. Others showed curiosity when they saw Yang Lin assuming such a posture. At this moment, Yang Lin's palm suddenly shook. A magical scene happened in the next second. It was seen that under Yang Lin's palm force, which seemed to be unable to kill even a mosquito, the reinforced concrete column that required various power tools to be broken seemed to be weathered. It kept falling sparsely down. And when those pure soil blocks hit the ground, they instantly decomposed into powder. After the large swaths of concrete blocks had almost fallen, a complete skeleton appeared in the column. What shocked everyone even more was that except for the concrete wrapping the skeleton which was shattered, the other parts of the concrete were not affected at all. Such a magical scene was even more shocking than the pale skeleton. So many people exclaimed in surprise. "Oh my God, what kind of kung fu is this? It's so awesome! Could this be the legendary heartbreaking palm? If this palm hits a person, all the internal organs will be shattered. Oh my God, it's a good thing that there were no foreigners at the scene. If foreigners saw this, it would be completely unexplainable that we people from the Dragon Kingdom know Kung Fu. If I knew this unique skill, I would be able to earn hundreds of dollars a day. That's necessary. The big project of demolishing the bay window in my house must be done by you. If you know this unique skill, you will have to give up your traditional skills. If you make a mistake." After sighing, everyone's attention finally turned to the skeleton. Looking at the slightly oozing pale white skeleton, some timid people no longer dared to look at it. But at this moment, Yang Lin took out 3 sticks of incense and a piece of white cloth from nowhere. After lighting 3 sticks of incense and placing them on the ground aside, he also chanted scriptures about the past life. Seeing his appearance, the police officers who were originally preparing to dig out the body suddenly did not dare to act rashly. It wasn't until more than a minute later that Yang Lin's voice came again. "Please bring out his bones and place them on this white cloth." As soon as Yang Lin said these words, a few people dared to delay and immediately took the bones out from the pillars with solemn expressions. And now more and more people are gathering here. When they saw that a skeleton had actually been found among the pillars, there was an instant uproar. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 125. As the bones were found, everyone present no longer knew how to describe their mood at this moment. There is admiration for Yang Lin, regret for the deceased, and even anger towards the original builder. A good human life was buried alive in the pillars under the viaduct. It is crushed and trampled by countless vehicles every day. In the Dragon Kingdom, which values peace in the grave, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is not a good death. After being indignant, Qin Feng immediately respectfully said to Yang Lin with a serious face, "Taoist priest, I know you have the ability to draw bones. Could you please help me draw the appearance of the deceased? It also makes it easier for us to find his family." Upon hearing Qin Feng's request, Yang Lin nodded without thinking. After Qin Feng found paper and pen, he immediately started drawing on the paper. In less than a minute, a portrait of the deceased appeared on the paper. Judging from his appearance, it was indeed as Yang Lin said before that he was a man in his 30s. If Pandeo's calculation is correct, this person should be from the south, and his birthplace should be close to the sea. Based on his appearance, Geixi is most likely. You can ask the Geixi police and they should be able to find out his identity soon. While handing the painted portrait to Qin Feng, Yang Lin informed him of the information he had just deduced. After hearing such detailed information, Qin Feng was naturally grateful again. But soon he seemed to have thought of something again, and quickly added another sentence. By the way, the deceased must have suffered from a terminal illness such as cancer during his lifetime. Even if he had not been staked, he would not have survived that year. After saying this, Yang Lin stopped talking. But even so, everyone present seemed to realize something, and there was a hint of pity in their eyes. Okay, Taoist priest, I understand. But even so, those people have no right to take away a person's life at will. After I return, I will definitely find out who was responsible for this section of the project as soon as possible, and give an explanation to the deceased and everyone. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Feng immediately left the scene with the police officers and the bones that had just been lifted out. After he left, Yang Lin also hurriedly left quietly under the cover of the program team. None of them expected that what was originally just a simple dinner would end up causing so much trouble. First there was a big explosion that endangered thousands of people, and then there was a pile driving that penetrated people. They encountered more bizarre things on this day than they had ever encountered in their lives. Even though the matter was over, they still had lingering fears, so much so that the planned dinner party was cancelled. After all, he just escaped death, who is in the mood to eat now? Of course, except Yang Lin. After returning to the hotel, he immediately ordered takeout from a star hotel, and then ate alone in the room. And while Yang Lin was enjoying his late lunch, the series of events that had just happened were uploaded to the internet of Long Country by some of the witnesses present. At this moment, the topic brought about by the product delivery activity has just become popular, and suddenly such a big event pops up. Netizens didn't even have time to react. But this does not stop them from eating melon. Especially when I learned that this incident was also related to Yang Lin. What? This is just a short time ago. Didn't the auction just end? The program team was almost wiped out by the group. Oh my god, the two gas stations were almost completely detonated. If they really exploded, it would probably become the most horrific disaster in the past 30 years. Just reading the text and the video made me nervous. If I were there, it would scare me to death. I was at the scene at the time. No kidding, my clothes were all wet. I was sweating and peeing. This happened right next to my house. If it really exploded, my whole family would have to answer today. I think this could be made into a disaster movie. I have already thought about the plot. Two young people died in the explosion, and then traveled back to before the accident. They continued to reincarnate, and finally found the cause of the explosion and successfully prevented the explosion. Brother, your plot looks a bit familiar to me. Why don't you plagiarize it? Just film it according to what happened today. There is no need to adapt it. Are you sure you don't need to adapt it? If this is not changed, it will directly change from a disaster movie to a martial arts movie, and the name will directly become Taoist Goes Down the Mountain. Fart, it should be a fantasy movie. However, before many netizens had finished eating the explosion, the video of Yang Lin analyzing the reasons for the explosion came out. After listening to his layer-by-layer analysis of the feng shui nearby, netizens were also amazed. Many netizens have even begun to search for books related to feng shui kanyu on the internet. During this period, there were naturally some discussions about feng shui and numerology. Dear netizens, do you know feng shui as well as Yang Lin? I would like to know if the feng shui where I live now is good. I know a little bit about it. Send me the location near your home and let me take a look. Okay. Building 4, Tang Chen Yupan. What the hell? I don't know Feng Shui and I know your family is good at Feng Shui. I suddenly realized that I also understand Feng Shui. If you live here, your luck in love should be very good. Speaking of love luck, I feel that my love luck has not been very good recently. The goddess I am chasing has always ignored me. I heard that wearing a bracelet can enhance your luck. Does anyone know this and recommend a bracelet? Want to increase your luck in love? Then try this bracelet of mine. Vacheron Constantine 57260 JPG. You boy. Then again, this time Yang Lin just pointed out the problem. The hidden dangers of the gas station are still there, and there will definitely be trouble with the elevated pillars. How to solve it next? How to solve it? Either find a master or change places. Moreover, the stock price of Longguo Petrochemical has just begun to fall. It must have been affected. This is already a sign of bankruptcy. If I were them, I would find Yang Lin immediately. But both the Longguo Petrochemical Company and the Jinghai Elevated Highway have official backgrounds. Would they really go out of their way to find a Taoist priest for such a thing? Let's see, we should know tomorrow. While netizens on the internet were discussing what happened today, Yang Lin, who had eaten and drank enough, had already entered a meditative state. In the afternoon, a disaster that affected thousands of people was resolved, and the karma obtained far exceeded the total amount obtained before. If he can refine them all, then he is very likely to hit the next big realm. Thinking of this, he immediately restrained his mind and started running his skills crazily. At the same time, in the headquarters building of Jinghai Longguo Petrochemical Company, a middle-aged man was already furious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 126. What are you doing for food? It took so long to report such a big thing. Now that the internet has spread a lot, how do you want me to end it now? In the office of Longguo Petrochemical Jinghai branch, Regional General Manager Wang Qingxiang is like a furious lion at the moment. The subordinates in front of him were also trembling with fear at the moment, not daring to say a word, for fear of saying the wrong thing and offending Wang Qingxiang. But it was precisely because of their submissive looks that made Wang Qingxiang even more excited. The next second he kicked the coffee table in front of him. Are you bastards? When something happens, you always put your head into a turtle shell. What I want now is a solution to the problem. What can we do now to minimize the impact of this? If this continues, I guess the surrounding residents will sign a petition asking us to move out. Just when he finished speaking, Su Wenda, assistant to the general manager, finally spoke. General manager, strictly speaking, it's not our fault this time. No one thought that there was a problem with the feng shui of the Nanhua site, and it was such a big problem. Besides, we can't solve something as ethereal as feng shui. But as soon as he finished speaking, Wang Qingxiang glared at him. What's the use of telling me such nonsense? Now you have the ability to hold a press conference immediately and say this to those reporters and those netizens. See if they are satisfied with your answer. This. Just when Su Wenda was speechless, another manager on the side finally plucked up the courage. Mr. Wang, hasn't Yang Lin already explained what the problem is? If we just change the road, it will be over. However, what he didn't expect was that as soon as he finished speaking about the solution, other people present looked at him with sympathetic eyes. Wang Qingxiang was immediately made angry and laughed. Oh, Wang Hai, you are so smart, you have thought of such a good method. Just change the road, and those netizens and surrounding residents will buy it. You can only fool around here with your brain. Suddenly scolded by Wang Qingxiang, the dull young man named Wang Hai didn't realize what the problem was. Fortunately, Su Wenda spoke again at this time. Mr. Wang, the road must be changed again, but we can't change it quietly. If we want to change it in a big way, my idea is that we should pay a high price to ask Yang Lin to come up with a solution for us, and then invite some media to come to the scene for special reports. In this way, there is both authority and dissemination. Those netizens and surrounding residents will definitely buy it. I even think that if we don't add a little more money, let him transform the gas station in Nanhua district into a feng shui treasure place. By the way, we can also take the opportunity to do some marketing. Wang Qingxiang, who was originally irritable, his eyes suddenly lit up after hearing Su Wenda's solution. Xiao Su has a good brain. He deserves to be a doctoral student in Qingbei. But isn't it a little bad for us to invite a Taoist priest to change the feng shui practices at the gas station in such a big way? Hearing Wang Qingxiang's concerns, Su Wenda immediately smiled. Mr. Wang is worrying too much. Who said Yang Lin is a Taoist? Isn't he an acting star? It should be fine if you invite celebrities to attend the event. As soon as these words came out, not only Wang Qingxiang's face showed a look of satisfaction, but others also felt like they were waking up from their dreams. The fact is, as Su Wenda said, Yang Lin has always been an artist in public. It might be slightly inappropriate to hire a Taoist priest, but it would be very reasonable to hire a celebrity. Okay, it's settled. We'll arrange for someone to invite Yang Lin early tomorrow morning. As for the price, try to set it higher, so that it will appear to be effective. Everyone at Longguo Petrochemical Jinghai branch had already made a decision during the conversation. At this moment, the Jinghai Transportation Management Bureau also made a decision. Thanks to the speed of communication on the internet today, the incident of piling piles on the Linhai elevated highway that just happened has now been widely circulated on the internet. And it has caused extremely bad effects, and the main person in charge of Jinghai City Jinsha Construction, who was originally responsible for the construction of the Linhai elevated project, has almost been halfway in. Of course, if this is the case, the Jinghai Municipal Transportation Management Bureau should not be affected at all. After all, they are just the management side, not the construction side. But the crux of the problem is that Qin Feng led people to dig out the bridge pillars. When the management personnel arrived, the pillars also settled for inexplicable reasons. No matter how hard their in-house technical experts tried, they couldn't find a solution. Now the entire Linhai elevated highway has been affected and has been temporarily closed. After learning about this situation, Hu Wenli, director of the Jinghai Municipal Transportation Management Bureau, was dumbfounded. I immediately contacted an academician from the Longguo Academy of Engineering. Academician Xiang, what do you mean when you just said that the column cannot be repaired using conventional construction techniques? Director Hu, I visited that section when it was being built. There were no problems with the geology of that section, and there were no problems with the construction materials. But after Jinsha Construction used that evil method, the pillars were erected, so some things really have to be believed. You might as well start from this aspect. It is said that the person who untie the bell must tie the bell. Yang Lin, who is very popular on the internet recently, seems to have done a lot of research in this aspect. I won't say more about the rest. When the call was hung up, Hu Wenli couldn't help but show hesitation on his face. He was a dignified director of the Transportation Bureau and asked him to come forward and ask a Taoist priest to help solve engineering problems. It wouldn't sound good to him if he said it. If you don't do it right, you will be labeled as someone who takes the lead in engaging in feudal superstition. And when he told his deputy about his concerns, the deputy looked indifferent. Director, you are worrying too much about this. Yang Lindu has helped the Municipal Public Security Bureau solve several major cases. They can let Taoist priests help solve the cases. Why can't we let Taoist priests help with the projects? And today's netizens are not like before. They believe this more than we do. Really, Hu Wenli said dubiously. Then let's invite Yang Lin over early tomorrow morning and ask him to help take a look. The closure of the Linhai elevated highway will have a huge impact on the entire Jinghai traffic. Okay. I'll arrange for someone to invite you early tomorrow morning. And just when both Longguo Petrochemical Branch and the Traffic Management Bureau made the decision to ask Yang Lin for help, Yang Lin, who was on the other side of the hotel, seemed to have a premonition. The corners of his mouth, which were in the midst of trance, suddenly twitched slightly. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 127. Early on the next morning, Yang Lin, who had practiced all night, slowly came out of his trance. After more than 10 hours of practice, he had transformed all the karma gained yesterday into a massive amount of mana. This also brought his realm directly to the peak of the real person realm, and was only a hair away from the next realm, the spiritual official realm. In addition to consolidating his cultivation, he also practiced 2 techniques in order to deal with the extreme situation yesterday. At this rate, within 10 years I will hopefully reach the realm of my previous life again and try to hit the immortal realm. Just as Yang Lin was mumbling to himself, there was a sudden knock on the door. Teacher Yang, it's us. Do you have any plans today? When Yang Lin heard this voice, he already knew who was outside. I saw him gently waving his sleeves, and the door opened automatically. As the door opened, the people from the program team appeared outside the door. And when several members of the program team saw Yang Lin sitting cross-legged on the sofa, they couldn't help but whisper. Teacher Yang ran very fast. He just opened the door for us and ran back to the sofa. I feel like Teacher Yang has become more handsome again today. Yeah. Teacher Yang, what should we do today? Should we rest, or should we continue to stay at Lover's Street? As soon as the cameraman finished speaking, Yang Lin shook his head. There's no need to go out today, someone will come looking for Pandeo later. You just need to follow Pandeo. After hearing Yang Lin's words, the program team was immediately stunned. Is someone coming to see Teacher Yang? Who is it? While several people were talking about it, Yang Lin had already stood up and put on his shoes. No need to guess, just go downstairs with Pandeo, they should be arriving soon. Them. Is there more than one person here today? Amidst the doubts of everyone in the program team, everyone quickly came to the lobby on the first floor under the leadership of Yang Lin. The next second, a group of people wearing Longguo petrochemical work clothes walked in from outside the hotel. After this group of people entered the hotel, they immediately walked to the front desk and asked the young lady at the front desk. Hello, does Teacher Yang Liniang live here? When someone asked, the lady at the front desk hesitated for a moment, then pointed in the direction where Yang Lin and others were. Do you think it's him you're looking for? Subconsciously looking in the direction pointed by the lady at the front desk, the eyes of this group of people suddenly lit up. One of the leading young men immediately walked towards Yang Lin. When he walked to Yang Lin, he said very respectfully. Teacher Yang, I am the Assistant General Manager of Longguo Petrochemical Jinghai Branch. My name is Su Wenda. I came to you this time to discuss a business cooperation with you. I didn't know it was inconvenient for you. As soon as the young man finished speaking, everyone in the program team hurriedly set up the live broadcast equipment. At the same time, the live broadcast room was also opened. When those die-hard fans of Yang Lin poured into the live broadcast room and saw the group of people wearing Longguo petrochemical work clothes in the camera, they immediately exploded. I'll tell you, they will definitely ask Yang Lin for help. Business cooperation? That's okay. It's very businesslike. So Yang Lin is going to do a feng shui inspection for Longguo Petrochemical later. The stock price has plummeted, so you have to take a look. I hope Yang Lin will bring down the price of oil. That's right, Teacher Yang, our main purpose this time is to invite you to become the image spokesperson of our branch. Of course, if you can, please help us point out some problems at the Nanhua site. If you agree, we can use 50 million as your one-year endorsement fee this time. When Su Wenda said these words sincerely, everyone present and even the audience in the live broadcast room were instantly stunned. But what surprised them was not the price of 50 million. It's the way they choose. 6. It deserves to be an official enterprise. The artistic content of this sentence is very high. Being an image spokesperson and pointing out minor issues by the way is reasonable and reasonable. To be honest, with Yang Lin's current popularity, the endorsement fee of 50 million is really not high. If you solve the problem, you can also earn a spokesperson and a wave of popularity. This operation of Longguo Petrochemical is a winner. If Yang Lin is willing to come forward, the feng shui problem at the gas station should be solved. What I don't understand is that Yang Lin has already pointed out the problem with the gas station. They can just find a feng shui master to fix it. Why should they pay Yang Lin a high price? You know nothing. Just when everyone in the live broadcast room was sighing at the wisdom of Longguo Petrochemical Jinghai branch, a group of people wearing white shirts suddenly walked into the hotel. After this group of people entered the hotel, they immediately discovered Yang Lin, who was surrounded by a crowd. The leader among them walked quickly towards the direction of Yang Lin while his eyes lit up. Teacher Yang, I am Hao Saiwen, Deputy Director of the Jinghai Transportation Management Bureau. We have some problems with the engineering problems of the Linhai Elevated Highway. I heard that you have some accomplishments in this area. The previous design of Jinshan Square was yours. So we hope you can give us some opinions on our project from your perspective. Don't worry, the consulting fee is definitely not a problem. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of everyone present instantly became weird. Especially the group of people who were petrified in the Dragon Kingdom. They obviously did not expect that the Tangtang Transportation Management Bureau would also come to invite Yang Lin. And the words they gave seemed even more ridiculous. Asking a star to give advice on engineering design is not the same as asking a programmer how to make the steamed buns crispier. However, he was shocked, and Su Wenda reacted quickly. Deputy Director Hao, everything should be done on a first-come, first-served basis. This time we found Teacher Yang first. Teacher Yang should help us take a look first. As soon as Su Wenda finished speaking, Hao Saiwen's face showed an unhappy look. Assistant Su, what you said is wrong. In addition to first come, first served, aren't there priorities? How much money do you lose if a gas station is parked for a day? Do you know what it means if the Linhai Elevated Expressway is parked for a day? So Teacher Yang must look at it for us first. You. The two parties in front of them were about to start a quarrel, and Yang Lin, who had not spoken for a long time, finally spoke. You don't have to argue. Aren't you two having problems together? We can just solve it together. Let's go, don't waste time. As soon as he finished speaking, he walked out of the hotel first. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 128. Since the hotel is not too far from the gas station in Nanhua district, it is only more than 10 minutes drive. So Yang Lin and the crew quickly arrived at the gas station where an explosion almost occurred yesterday. Although the road next to the gas station has been cleared for a long time, the strange thing is that there is not a single customer filling up the gas station. At a glance, there were only 3 or 4 listless gas station employees dozing there. Seeing this scene, the face of Su Wenda, the assistant to the general manager who came with Yang Lin, suddenly darkened. He immediately walked up to an employee and said sternly, "Where's your station chief? How can you be so lazy without someone to cheer you on? And where have the rest of your site gone?" Suddenly being yelled at by Su Wenda, The employee was immediately excited and hurriedly explained. Assistant Sue, our station manager is inside now. As for the others, they all took leave today. Something like that happened yesterday and they were all frightened. And isn't our gas station's feng shui bad? Everyone is afraid of something happening. Those people are not regular employees, so. Before he could finish speaking, Sue Wenda's face darkened. What age do you think you are? If you still believe this, let them all go back to work. If I don't see them later, I will fire them all. Hearing Sue Wenda's words, the employee nodded immediately. At the same time, his eyes also saw Yang Lin behind Sue Wenda, who was wearing Taoist robes. Inexplicably, his eyes became strange. Assistant Sue, who is this Taoist priest? What Taoist priest? He is a big star, and he was invited by our branch to cooperate. Sue Wenda had just finished training his employees, and the next second he ran up to Yang Lin. Teacher Yang, I made you laugh. Please help me find out how to solve the feng shui problem on our site. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin nodded, and then he wandered around the gas station. During this process, Sue Wenda and the staff of Longguo Petrochemical also laughed at the whole process. It wasn't until more than 10 minutes later that Yang Lin finally stopped. Teacher Yang, how are you? Do you have a solution? Sue Wenda asked immediately. Yes, the best solution right now is the anti-gong evil here. Yang Lin walked to the intersection of the gas station. You only need to put up a giant billboard at the top of the arch, and all the evil spirits will be blocked. This way, there is no need to rebuild the road, and the effect is immediate. Upon hearing Yang Lin's suggestion, Sue Wenda's eyes suddenly lit up, and he quickly took out a small notebook and recorded the method he said. At the same time, he did not forget to say to a site manager on the side. Immediately contact the announcement company and ask them to build a truss here, and then hang a spray-painted poster. The content on it is that it will be reduced by 50 cents. The bigger the better. As soon as Sue Wenda said these words, the audience watching the excitement in the live broadcast room immediately couldn't hold back. Good guy, Yang Lin has a great idea. If this billboard is erected, all passing vehicles will be able to see it. I think this assistant general manager is a real talent. He puts the price reduction information directly on the billboard. This is more effective than any other advertisement. It won't take long for a queue to start outside this site. Yang Lin really brought down the price of oil. In this way, this billboard not only helps to ward off evil spirits, but also helps to gather wealth. The reverse bow evil is easy to break. The pattern of death has been established. How can Yang Lin resolve it? Just after Sue Wenda arranged for someone to install the billboard, he seemed to have thought of another feng shui problem at the gas station. He immediately asked with a sincere face. Teacher Yang, I also watched the video online yesterday. Didn't you also say that this location was a place of death? I don't know how to resolve this problem. After all, we don't have the right to change the direction of the road. As soon as his question came out, Yang Lin did not answer him immediately. Instead, he drew a few circles on the empty space of the gas station with his toes. Seeing this scene, Sue Wenda's face suddenly showed a look of confusion. Teacher Yang, are you setting up a formation? As soon as he asked this question, everyone else present also looked expectant. In their view, a difficult-to-break pattern like the Deathland must require a lot of effort. Maybe Yang Lin will show some magical means this time. However, Yang Lin raised his head with a calm expression. What are you thinking about? What Pandeo means is that if you want to destroy this place of death, you only need to place a few Pixio statues in the places circled by Pandeo. Of course, if you don't think it looks good to display Pixio, you can also plant a few trees in these locations. The iron branches and leaves are like swords, which can offset the conflict of yin and yang here. The effect is almost the same, and it's cheaper. After listening to Yang Lin's explanation, Everyone present suddenly showed an expression of realization on their faces. The person in charge of the site said with excitement. Assistant Sue, another friend of mine, is engaged in landscaping, and he sells iron trees there. The price is only a few $100 per pot. But as soon as he finished saying this, Sue Wenda glared at him. What kind of iron tree are you buying? Just buy Pixiu. If you want one as tall as a person, fill this place with me. This is not only responsible for the employees who work here, but also for the customers and surrounding residents. How can you think about saving money on such a vital matter? As he spoke, a smile appeared on his face again. Teacher Yang, thank you very much this time. How do you pay for your endorsement fees? In addition, there will be issues regarding the use of your portrait rights in the future. After some discussions, a draft endorsement contract was quickly completed. Yang Lin also received a payment from Longguo Petrochemical Jinghai branch. It only lasted 30 minutes. The speed was so fast that the audience in the live broadcast room was stunned. Damn, it's you as expected, Longguo Petrochemical, with such efficiency and such speed of making money. I have a hunch that this place will soon become an internet celebrity gas station. In 30 minutes, I made money in just a few words. This is too fast. So, technical talents are still in demand. On average, Yang Lin earns 50 million yuan by speaking no more than 10 sentences. The average sentence is 5 million yuan. Those real top performers in the entertainment industry can't make as much money as he does by singing for one night. Stop talking, I went to study Feng Shui. The book I just bought online has arrived. Just when Yang Lin pointed out the problem to Longguo Petrochemical, people from the Jinghai Municipal Transportation Management Bureau rushed over. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 129. Teacher Yang, it's our turn, it's our turn. The dignified deputy director of the Jinghai Transportation Management Bureau was like a primary school student waiting to recite a spot check in front of Yang Lin. But Yang Lin just glanced at him lightly. Let's go and see what's wrong with that pillar now. After saying that, he walked straight towards the Linhai elevated area 1 kilometer away. When others saw this, they naturally raised their heels. More than 10 minutes later, when everyone walked to the elevated pillar where the skeleton was found yesterday, they found that the entire area was surrounded. A team of construction workers wearing hard hats were looking at the completely cracked columns in front of them with a frown. After seeing Hao Sai-wen coming, I immediately felt like I had seen a savior. A middle-aged man wearing a red safety helmet greeted him immediately. Deputy Director Hao, you are finally here. Just now this pillar was completely cracked, and now we don't know whether to dismantle the entire pillar or carry out emergency repairs. What's even more strange is that it's like there's quicksand underneath this pillar, which has been slowly settling. After hearing what he said, Hao Sai-wen's face became unhappy. But it seems that he thought of inviting Yang Lin this time, and the frown he just frowned instantly relaxed. Then he introduced to the middle-aged man wearing a red helmet. Engineer Chang, this is teacher Yang Liniang. He has extensive research in this field. With him here there should be no problem. As he spoke, he habitually took a helmet from the side and put it on his head, then turned around to get another one for Yang Lin. In the end, he was rejected by Yang Lin. Seeing this scene, the group of people who were originally skeptical of Yang Lin immediately dispelled some of their suspicions. Because before that, the masters who collaborated with them all wore safety helmets. Only the middle-aged engineer wearing a red safety helmet showed doubts. Especially when seeing Yang Lin's too young and too fair face. At this time, Yang Lin also walked into the construction area again. Looking at the familiar pillar in front of him, he counted with his fingers while observing the surrounding situation. Half a minute passed and he frowned. A minute passed, and he still had doubts in his eyes. It wasn't until 5 minutes passed that he finally thought of something. Hao Sai-wen, who was looking nervous at the side, couldn't help but ask after seeing Yang Lin's expression. "Teacher Yang, what is the problem here? This problem has not been properly solved when construction started a few years ago. We have also explored the geology here and there are no problems." At this moment, he was not the only one who had such doubts, everyone else also looked curious. And at this time, Yang Lin, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. "I made a mistake yesterday. The problem here is bigger than I thought." After saying that, he opened the map software on his mobile phone. After some operations, the satellite map of the entire Qinghai Sea appeared on his screen. Seeing his actions, everyone looked puzzled. Apparently he didn't understand how the issue of an elevated pillar was related to Qinghai's map. The terrain of Qinghai City is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and facing the sea on one side. The Dongming Mountain on the northwest side is connected to Nanlong, one of the 3 major dragon veins of the Dragon Kingdom, and is a branch of Nanlong. This branch is also a dragon vein, and it is also the main dragon vein of Qinghai City. This dragon vein enters the sea at Wanjiao Mountain. So Wanjiao Mountain is where the dragon's head is, and the dragon hiding in the abyss is the top feng shui pattern. Hearing this, everyone became even more confused. Why did they get involved with Wanjiao Mountain and Dragon Vein again? "Teacher Yang, is our topic going astray?" Hao Sai-wen, who had been thinking for a long time but couldn't think of the connection, finally couldn't help but ask. And his question also raised doubts in other people's minds. However, at this moment, Yang Lin used his finger to draw a dotted line on the Qinghai map. One end of the dotted line connects Dongming Mountain, the other end passes through the center of Qinghai, and finally it connects to the sea from Wanjiao Mountain. It happens to be in the shape of a dragon. Seeing Yang Lin's actions, Hao Sai-wen, who was closest to him, suddenly had a flash of light in his mind. "Teacher Yang, I understand, you are saying that the place we are standing now is on the dragon vein of Qinghai City. That's why this pillar cannot stand." Hearing Hao Sai-wen's words, others also felt a sense of enlightenment. But whether it is true or not still has to wait for Yang Lin to nod. And Yang Lin didn't let them wait long, he quickly nodded and said, "You are right, the place we are standing on now is not only the main axis of the entire Qinghai City, but also the dragon vein of Qinghai City. What's even more coincidental is that the pillar hit the heart of Dragon Vein. Although it didn't hurt the pulse, it made the dragon sleepless and foodless. How could it let you raise the pillars?" As soon as Yang Lin said this, the group of people responsible for the construction suddenly looked at each other. They never thought that this was the reason why the pillar could not be erected. But what they didn't expect even more was what Yang Lin said next. In addition to the fact that the pillar was hid above the dragon's heart, there is another problem with this elevated structure. "Do you have the design drawings of the entire Linhai elevated highway?" Yang Lin suddenly asked this question. Although the construction workers were confused, they finally found an overall design drawing for Yang Lin. When the design drawing was spread out in front of Yang Lin immediately pointed to the overall pattern of the elevated structure. "Do you think this coastal elevated highway looks like some kind of animal?" "Animal?" After hearing what Yang Lin said, everyone quickly looked at the design drawings. Looking at the side, a man wearing a yellow hat said with surprise, "Snake. It looks like a coiled snake." As soon as these words came out, everyone was immediately aware of it. If they looked carefully, the Linhai elevated highway looked like a cobra with its head held high. Everyone vaguely realized something. Yang Lin also continued to say at this moment, "When a snake lives by the sea, it means it will become a dragon. How can we allow others to sleep peacefully on the side of the bed? There is such a high-spirited snake next to the dragon vein. There will be no problem in a short time. But as time goes by, it will inevitably lead to disaster. Within 5 years, this elevated highway will either be destroyed by a typhoon or a heavy rain. I'm afraid all of you people here will be jailed by then, and maybe a few of them will be shot. As soon as Yang Lin finished speaking, the faces of those wearing safety helmets turned pale with fright. Hao Sai-wen, the deputy director of the Jinghai Municipal Traffic Management Bureau, felt his knees weak and almost stopped kneeling in front of Yang Lin. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 130. No one expected that things would develop to this point. Originally, there was only a problem with one column, but after listening to Yang Lin's words, everyone realized that it was not just this column that had a problem, but the entire Linhai Elevated Highway. You must know that the Linhai Elevated Highway is an important project in Jinghai City and is related to the development of the entire Jinghai City. When the elevated highway was first built, Jinghai officials spent a one-time construction cost of 3 billion, which took 6 years. It has only been open to traffic for 3 years. If this elevated highway is really destroyed by a typhoon or heavy rain within 5 years, then what Yang Lin said just now is really not an exaggeration at all. From the contractor, to the construction unit, to the design institute, and even the transportation administration, no one can escape. As the deputy director of the Transportation Bureau, Hao Sai-wen could already imagine what his end would be like when something happened to the Linhai Elevated Highway. After more than a minute of panic, his eyes finally locked on Yang Lin. "Teacher Yang, is this matter really as serious as you say? When we first built this elevated highway, we hired the top highway and bridge designers in the country to design it. In terms of feng shui, we also contacted the eminent monk from Dalin Temple to come and see it. There will definitely be no problems." But as soon as he finished speaking, Yang Lin shook his head. "There are no problems with the design. The problem lies with the eminent monk of Dalin Temple. He either doesn't understand feng shui at all, or he does it on purpose. From Pindao's point of view, the latter is more likely. After all, there are no such coincidences in the world." This stake hit the heart of the dragon vein impartially. The overall viaduct is like a snake transforming into a dragon. The final result is either that the Beijing Sea dragon veins are completely cut off, or that the Linhai viaduct is destroyed by the dragon veins. You obviously don't have enough skills, but you try to slay the dragon and seize the power, which will cause endless harm. After saying that, Yang Lin walked to the pillar and motioned for Hao Sai-wen and others to come closer. At first, they didn't quite understand Yang Lin's intention. It wasn't until they got closer to the pillar that their expressions suddenly changed. Vaguely they heard bursts of roaring sounds coming from below the ground. Listening to the sound coming from under their feet, they felt a little restless. "You should have heard it, this is the roar coming from the dragon vein below. To explain it in a scientific way, there is a huge cavity underneath this location that has been washed away by groundwater. Today, if you want to solve this problem and address potential risks that may occur in the future, there are only 2 ways." Hearing this, not only Hao Sai-wen and others became interested, but everyone in the program team also quickly showed the camera to Yang Lin again. They didn't even dare to make any sound. And under everyone's expectant gaze, Yang Lin came up with 2 solutions. One is to find the 7 air pockets of this dragon vein and suppress them one by one using secret methods. Without 3 days of this dragon vein will die. Once the dragon vein dies, it will no longer be able to cause trouble in the future, and there will be no more problems with the Linhai elevated line. Those people probably wanted to do this at the beginning, but unfortunately they didn't have the skills and knowledge to do it. As soon as Yang Lin came up with this method, everyone in the Transportation Management Bureau who was originally looking ashen suddenly became energetic. This is good, once and for all. I didn't expect you, Teacher Yang, to be proficient in the art of slaying dragons. Teacher Yang, why not use this method? Just when Hao Sai-wen felt that he could see hope again, Yang Lin had a strange look on his face. Are you sure you want to use this method? This method has very serious side effects. Side effects? Hao Sai-wen was obviously stunned for a moment. Teacher Yang, can you please explain a little more clearly? Dragon veins are the source of the Earth's energy in a place. If the dragon veins in Jinghai City are cut off, all the geomantic treasures that rely on dragon veins for their existence will become wastelands, such as Wanjiao Mountain. Of course, this is not the point. Jinghai Dragon Vein is also related to the wealth and talent of the entire Jinghai. Once the Dragon Vein is cut off, Jinghai's wealth and talent will be leaked. The most direct consequence of the leakage of wealth is the decline in economic development. Some companies that were supposed to settle in Jinghai have all gone elsewhere. The leakage of talent will lead to the brain drain of Jinghai. Local students in Jinghai will top the college entrance examination, and the number of students admitted to first-class prestigious schools will be greatly reduced. This effect will last for hundreds of years. When Yang Lin finished speaking, the whole place was silent, and even the audience in the live broadcast room was speechless at the moment. They never thought that a conceptual existence like Dragon Vein would have such a significant impact. It can actually affect the economic development and talent development of a place. If this is really the case, then this Dragon Vein is still a Dragon Vein. It is clearly the lifeblood of the entire Jinghai. After several minutes, everyone in the live broadcast room finally couldn't help but start discussing. Is it really as exaggerated as Yang Lin said? One dragon vein can affect the development of an entire city. This is too mysterious. That's right, I don't believe that I won't be able to get into college after digging out the dragon's veins. This is somewhat alarmist. I'll go, you outsiders, can you please stop expressing your opinions randomly? It doesn't matter to you. I am really a native of Jinghai. I would rather believe what I say or not. It is still possible. It is so difficult for our candidates in southern Henan. I seriously doubt that it was Lu Bowen who cut off the dragon veins here in our country. When you say that, I, a true northeasterner, have to say this. I seriously doubt that some mining company dug up the dragon's veins in our area. Now the economy has regressed to what it is. I heard that when Lu Bowen killed the branches of the central dragon and the north dragon, the south dragon didn't move much. So is this why the southern coast is richer than our northern one? Even if you know this is not necessarily true, would anyone dare to try it? I guess no one would dare. It's not a good deal to build the future of an entire city just for the sake of an elevated highway. It was obviously not just the netizens who realized this. After Hao Sai-wen and others came to their senses, they also weighed the pros and cons. Finally, they smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Because they know that if nothing goes wrong, if Jinghai's economy or enrollment rate is not ideal in the future, they will be pulled out to take the blame. More importantly, if the big guys living in Wanjiao Mountain knew that he had ruined the feng shui of Wanjiao Mountain, his body might have appeared in the sea the next day. So after thinking twice, he looked at Yang Lin again with a wry smile. Teacher Yang, what about the second method?